Welcome to the Bret Boone Podcast. I am Bret Boone, and today I'm joined by a friend of the podcast, former teammate. I had him when he was a kid. We kind of overlapped our careers. He's an MLB Network analyst, and most importantly, he's getting ready for the Baseball Classic. Pretty awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Mark DeRosa. D-Ro, it's almost here. Did you watch the hockey? That's what I wanted to do.
I did.
Did you?
Hey, we got a group chat with all the guys that are on Team USA, and if there was one, there was 15. Just gifts or fired up about the hockey.
Yeah, hockey. It sets the bar pretty high. And I know this isn't Olympic, but as it's grown, and tell me if I'm wrong here. Let's go back to when we overlapped. You were a rookie in what year? Was it 99?
I got called up in 98 for a cup of coffee, and then when were we together? 99.
We were together 99. What was your last year in the big leagues?
13.
13. Okay, so we overlapped. For those of you watching, listening to the Bret Boone podcast.
Hey, Boonie, can I tell a story, dude? Because when I got to listen, go ahead. People have to understand, when I got to the big leagues with the Atlanta Braves, like, that locker room was like, whoa. Yeah. And I just remember you coming over in a trade or however you got over there, and you pulled in the most gorgeous 911 silver Porsche, and I got out of my car and I said, one day, baby. One day.
Yeah, and it happened. Back then, I want to talk about now. You've done this. You did it in 2023. You're about to kick off 26 in this baseball world classic. I think it's awesome. Now, as I get on this side and I watch what's going on in the game, I don't know if there's a better promotional ad for the game than doing this in the spring training. I think it's just great for the game of baseball internationally. But I look at it back in the early 2000s. Let's just give an example. And it was just coming to, I think 2005 was the first time they did it. That group, that generation, it would almost be like, wait a minute, we got to get ready for the season. That's what's important. What's this going on over here? And I think the mentality was different. Like, yeah, guys might want to do it. I don't know. I'm more worried about, for me, the Seattle Mariners in our upcoming season.
Yeah.
I'm not really necessarily, worried about going and represent the USA in kind of an exhibition. I'll tell you what, over the years, I think that's changed. I think the mentality's changed. I think you being the skipper, you're talking to all these guys. It seems to me like not only the stars of the game, but everybody's like, wow, this would be an honor if I was even invited to be a part of that roster. Whereas, do you agree in our day when you were first coming up, it wasn't like that. It was like Olympics, maybe we do the Olympics, but no, we got to concentrate in our game. I think things have changed.
Completely. Boonie, I got a chance to do it in 09. I was on Team USA, and I was just jacked up. I got a chance to take BP in a hitting group with David Wright and Jeter and Jimmy Rollins for 3 weeks. And it was kind of viewed like a glorified get out of spring training and hang out with the superstars in the game. But I don't think, and I think what's happened with Team USA, I think the passion the Latin American countries showed early on in this, and the way Japan went about it, it was kind of like we were getting knocked out in the semifinals when I was there in 09. I know USA won it with Jim Leland and the boys in 17, but there has been this like groundswell of guys wanting to be a part of this. And I credit Japan for getting our players to want to do it. From a position player standpoint, I think it makes perfect sense. You got like postseason at bats in March. You get back to your club, your parent club, for the last like 10 days of spring training, and you're like bored. You're ready to go. Like, it's on. From a pitching standpoint, being in March, that's the difficult part, to try and get these guys to buy in, because this, Boonie. We played behind a lot of guys that were in a spring training start, like a Greg Maddux. I'm working on my changeup today, or I'm working on something. They didn't care what their line was, right? They were getting their work in. Whereas this, in front of 50,000, it's go time, man. Like, it's win or go home. So you have to post. So I think from a pitching aspect of it, it's been a lot harder to get the guys on board. But I credit the Latin American passion, the mystery of the Japanese team, kind of forcing the U.S. to let's go, let's go. If we're gonna win this thing, we got to put our best guys out there.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I remember when it first started, I said, Japan's, I'll tell you, I don't know who's taking it serious because, big league baseball and back in the day, the American, yeah, of course you want to win, but you're more worried about the task at hand, which is
Yeah,
the big league season. But I said, you go to Japan, they want to knock your head off. I said, this is the biggest thing. This is their World Series. And I think you're right. I think because they bring it and there's so much pride to because America, we kind of take it for granted. America's America, but what I've seen over the years definitely been a change, and I think for the baseball fan, it's been awesome. Going down to the Otani Trout matchup
yeah.
a couple years ago, where in the big scheme of things and in the season, it didn't really matter, but it was for a baseball fan, it was kind of much must watch TV, which again just adds to the positivity it brings to the game.
It's funny. We're sitting there versus Japan in the final game, and we had known he was going to close the game. And that's the difference. You look back at the pitching, they were running out. It's Yamamoto, it's Sasaki, it's Imanaga, and then Yu Darvish pitched the eighth. If I were to call parent clubs and say, hey, can I use your number one starter as my eighth inning guy? They're hanging up the phone. That is slowly started to loosen a little bit. But
Yeah.
we saw it coming down the tracks, and I'm looking at the lineup card and going, oh my God, he's going to get Trout. This is going to happen. And I thought, listen, at that time, him throwing 100 miles an hour with a Bugs Bunny sweeper flying across the plate, Mike was in kind of a no-win. He was going to either run into one or not. And I just thought, and I said this in the post game, I would have loved to have won it. It's what's fueled me to want to do it again. But I thought the game of baseball, won that night. That was a huge moment for everybody. That thing was going viral on all social medias. And I just feel like that's why I feel like baseball's on this massive trajectory right now.
Yeah, and I think what hockey just did, and especially the women winning the gold as well, it puts hockey on a new level. It makes young kids that watch that want to play hockey.
Yeah.
I think the same thing for this baseball, even though it's not in the middle of the season. People ask me all the time, well, hockey shuts down their season for this competition. I said, well, it's a little different. The hockey season's different. Why? Well, we play 162. I
Yeah.
think we've got a really good formula right now going in Major League Baseball with the playoff, how they have it set up. It's exciting. Last year was probably one of the best World Series I've ever seen. And that lead up is always, since they have this new format, I think it's great TV. I think it's great for the game. Spring training now, the games are starting in early March, or I'm sorry, the regular season starts in late March. It used to start in April. You're finishing in October. There's just no room. And the biggest thing I hear is, well, if it was that important, you'd make room. I guess you could replace the All-Star game with it, do it something like there. But that there's so many different parts that have to move to do that, because you mentioned the position players versus the pitchers. This is early spring training for us. We're used to DeRosa. I know in 2009 you were rolling into regular camp going, all right, Skip, am I getting 2 innings or 3 innings today?
Yeah, exactly.
Now all of a sudden you're like, this is game 6.
You're going 9.
Yeah, you're going 9. Let me mention the guys on the staff, and I circled, and I don't mean not to circle. There's so many stars on this staff, but I don't think your 1-2 could be any better. As good as the game has to offer. I know Scuba a little bit. I played some golf with him. How about this? Let me go down the list first. We got a Cal Raleigh, hit 60 last year. Harper, 2-time MVP. Witt Jr. and probably the biggest star in the game outside of Shohei Ohtani, and that's Aaron Judge. He's a part of that team. But do you have to call? You said we talked off air, and you said Boonie, I've been going at this for a year trying to lead up to this, how to get prepared. Do you have to make calls to the organization and go, all right, here's what we got. We got Skeens is committed. Do you have to call the Pittsburgh Pirates and go, listen, What are we working with here? Do you have to collaborate with them and find out what's acceptable, what isn't? Because
100%.
you're in a pressure situation, Mark. I mean, the juice is flowing in you, and I know how excited you are about this. It's, hey, we're there to kick some butt. We want to win
Yeah.
at all costs, but you've got all these outside. Well, wait a minute. This guy, I got a guy that just won a $32 million arbitration case, and I have to be respectful to the Detroit Tigers. So you have all these little nuances. Tell me how you kind of navigate through that.
Yeah, I think it's case by case, Boonie. In 23, my first time doing it, I was calling the managers, the pitching coaches, the GMs, and kind of getting their temperature on it before I was actually calling the player. This time I attacked it a little bit different because I felt like if you went that route, man, God, you're limiting yourself. There's a lot of parent clubs that, and I understand the impact of one of these guys going down, how it impacts their season. So from their seat, it doesn't benefit the Tigers necessarily for Skubal to pitch in this thing. It benefits the growth of the game and the fact that we're putting our stars out there. But I understand from their point of view. But from mine, I'm trying to put the best product out there and the best team out there to give us the best chance to win. So I attacked it a little bit differently. What I started doing in late March, early April, I started picking guys off, just taking their temperature on the phone. I called Aaron Judge and was just like left a message. Was like, hey, this is Dero. I'm managing Team USA again. Obviously, I want you to be the captain. If you're interested, give me a call back. And Boonie, the phone calls, these guys were picking up like 2 rings. I couldn't believe it. Like, I called Harper, and I had played with Bryce when he was 19. And I called him, and he's like, in. I called Skeens. He's like, you don't have to pitch me. I'm doing this. So everybody was a little different. Some teams wanted to check with their team first. Other guys stood on business. I mean, Skeens was like, I'm doing this for every serviceman and woman that gives us our freedom.
Yeah.
I'll figure it out. Like, I got it.
Skeens is saying, you have Pittsburgh, check with me.
Yeah, it was kind of like that. Other guys, it's been interesting. I could tell you different stories about every guy from on down the line. Like Bobby Witt, I went up to in spring training in last year in March, and I was like, it's your turn. I mean, we had him in 23 on the roster, but it was more like that Christian Laettner vibe for the Dream Team, where he was just there to observe. We really couldn't play him that much. And by the time I left, I was like, oh my God, he might be the most talented guy on the roster. And he's pinch running for us. So, attacking him, and then Cal Raleigh, I mean, the season he had, it was pretty obvious. I talked to him in the All-Star break in Atlanta. It's funny. My son plays 16U travel ball, and his brother is on the team in the same academy. So I talked to his old man before I actually called Cal. I said, would he be interested in doing this? And he's like, are you kidding? It'd be a joy of his life to be a part of it. So the feedback from the dudes has been incredible this time around. I haven't had to do much like, hey, do you wanna? This is why I think you make sense. It's been more like, hey, we've identified you. I wanted to build, Boonie, and you know this. You can't just take all the all-stars, throw them in a room, and think you're going to win.
Right.
Some guys compliment guys differently. The characters in there got to mesh and mold, and he's got to have, you got to have speed, power, elite D up the middle, personalities that bounce off each other. So I slow played this thing the entire season, watching guys every night for MLB Central, and just kind of like picking brains of guys that have been around them. I know most of the guys in the game still, but I wanted to build a team where it would be I felt like in 23, there was like a feeling out process. You know how that goes. You go to a new ball club and there's like, it takes you
Absolutely.
10 days to feel everybody out. It's like, no, man, this thing's built to perfection. So let's go stomp some people.
And you got to have guys that want to be there. And it sounds like from the feedback I'm hearing, pretty much everybody wanted to be there. And actually, probably some guys disappointed in spring training right now. Man, I'd love to play on that USA team, and I maybe next time, maybe next year.
Yeah. It was funny. I wish there was a 35-man roster. I really do, because I think there's opportunity to get guys like the whole insurance thing with Mike Trout. Kind of, Mike should be on this ball club,
Yeah.
but I mean, he didn't play the field much last year, and there was a lot of talk how we going to insure him, and you go through the process, and we had to go another direction. The guy that hurts my heart because he was so good for us in 23 was Trey Turner. Hit 5 bombs for us, hit a grand slam against Venezuela that I still think about. But again, 3 years removed, it's Bobby Witt's turn.
Yeah.
Right? It just like that's
Trey Turner might be your backup.
and I don't want him to sit on the bench and be the backup to somebody. I don't think that's fair to him. So the whole taking all of it into context, I just felt like, hey, let's get Gunnar Henderson in here. We can move him to third base if need be. He gives us a different look. Let Bobby feel like it's his time.
Going back to that about talking to the players, talking to the organizations, having a feel at this point, I'm sure you have a feel on how you're going to use all these guys.
Mm-hmm.
But let me give you a scenario because I know this guy, and I'm talking about Scooble again. You're in the championship game, and hey, Scoobs, you're on a 50 pitch limit. That's it. That's what we're going with. We've all agreed. Yeah, Skip, no problem. You come out to the mound in the middle of an inning. He's kind of old school. I mean, he's those guys like, get off my mound. This is my game. Kind of like the big boys back in 20, 25 years ago would say. You come out and want to take Pedro out of the game, and he doesn't. Well, we saw that in 03 when they tried to take him out of the game. He said, get out of here. You see a famous clip on your network played all the time is when Joe Torre comes out to Mike Mussina. Yeah, he just says, get out of here. That happens to you. What do you got to do? Because now you're in the pressure cooker.
Yeah, I got MF'd last time by Merrill Kelly when I went to go get him.
I had Merrill Kelly in Texas last year. Love him.
I get it.
Love him. Love him.
I get it. Come on, we were in the fight. We were in a fight a long time. I want that. Truth be told, with Scooble, listen, it's been documented on social media now. We had talk with the Tigers. We had talk with his representation. I had slow played Tarek the entire season, obviously wanting him to be a part of this. He's going to make one start for us, and then he's probably going back to Lakeland. So when we get to the championship game, listen, he blows my phone up and wants to come back. He's more than welcome. And he might.
Yeah.
And we'll keep that open in case that happens. But I can't be the reason. I told guys this when they made the decision to do it. Don't let me push you over the threshold to doing this, because I don't want to sit there holding my breath every time you guys take the bump. This has got to be your family, your representatives, your agent, your team. They have to be on board with you doing this so we can attack this thing the right way. And that's why when you get on the phone with some of these guys, it's pretty intense. I can't begin to sing Paul Skeens' praises enough, man. This dude he's built like the great ones, Bret.
Yeah.
I'm serious.
I don't know him at all. Never had a conversation with him, but just
this mindset's different.
Yeah, but you're right. Pitch it. Watch it.
He'll tell me, get the hell out of here.
Right. And I can just tell from an observer. It's like, all right, I see the stuff. Obviously,
I think if Scoobs had his deal already, I think we wouldn't be having a conversation. I think he'd be all in. But I also, come on, he's got a chance to go 3 Cy Youngs in a row. He's got a chance to make north of $400 million, and he's willing to make a start for us, Team USA. It means that much to him. So, I mean, I'm proud that he's going to be a part of this in any capacity. I thought, when he said, like I said, I slow played him the whole year. I said, I totally understand your situation. We'll completely leave it up to you. And when he circled back and said, hey, I want to give this a crack, I was like, oh my, well, here we go.
Yeah. You're a couple days away. When you get all these guys together, and I was looking at, you got a star-studded line. You got a star-studded coaching staff.
Yeah,
you got one of my favorites, Michael Young, as your bench coach. Andy Pettit. You got, as we mentioned, Sean Casey at the Holiday. David Ross in your bullpen. Brian McCann, Freddie Gonzalez. So you got a star-studded coaching staff as well. Well, you get these guys together for the first time, and I'm sure you've had a million talks with all of them. What's kind of the vibe? Is it long? Is it long, or is it kind of
No,
guys? We
not
know
going to
why
be
we're here.
long-winded. Not going to be long-winded. Listen, if I die and go to heaven and I'm putting a staff and a team together, this is who I'm bringing, man.
Yeah.
Minus a few people. We can't have a 50-man roster, but I mean, I got to choose 99% of this, and the staff are guys that are lifelong friends, but more than that, Brett, they're tireless workers. They're good people, right? These guys want to get ready for a season. I learned that in 23. They want to sweat. They want ground balls. They want BP. They want to stay till it gets dark. We're not just leaving. Like you can't just this ain't an all-star where you're just hanging out, kumbaya, and hit the bus.
Right.
We're there sweating with them, doing flips in the cage, throwing sides, hitting fungos. Guys want to stay after and get ready for the season. So I wanted to build a staff of dudes that I knew were selfless in that regard and really cared. And I think that I think the ultimate thing for me is my message to the team would be this team was built by design. This is not just all-stars thrown in a room. It's the greatest players our country has, certainly. I mean, you can make the argument some guys are missing, but a team has been formed here. We have elite defense, elite power, elite speed, elite makeup. There is no feeling out. We will not. I felt like last time you put that USA jersey on, you walk out and the expectations are kind of like we're being hunted. I want to go the other route. 2.5 weeks, over 162. I don't think you can play a certain brand of baseball, but for 2.5 weeks, I want Bret Boone bat flipping to the moon. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
Let's go.
And
Like, be the hunter.
I think,
Run rule these teams that deserve to be run ruled.
and I think that's how, from what I'm watching, that's how the guys go about it. It is not a spring training mode. At this time of the season, and you've been doing a long time now at MLB Network, you hear it every year. Well, and especially from the fans of certain teams. It's like, oh, his first start, he did this, and you just kind of drop your pen and go, listen, this is the first week of spring. Like you mentioned at the top, Greg Maddux is working on his changeup today. He doesn't care what his line is. Nobody cares. Wind's blowing out 200 miles an hour. These home runs in spring training are not legitimate, okay?
Yeah.
Some of them are. Some of them aren't. Some of the pitch lines are a joke. Once the game starts and we're playing for keeps, it's a different line, different, especially the real players, the big time players. They're a different guy than they were in spring training 2 weeks ago. Now I look at this roster and I just think, well, okay, so one day, Gunnar Henderson's going to play third instead of Bregman. It's not like you're putting in some backup 26 man on the roster for a star. You're replacing star with star. But when you get to the quarterfinals, is it, hey, we're going with this team?
Yeah.
Is it it's whatever you think and your staff thinks this is the best chance we have to win, and it's not about getting playing time for the other guys. I'm sure at that point, I think the mentality is kind of like, I'm here for the experience. If I some of the guys on this roster that aren't probably your starters to begin with, they're probably thinking it'll be an unbelievable experience. I'll get to hang around, like you said, in 09, you get to take BP with the guys you kind of came into the league in awe of. Some of that's going to be going on here for these guys, and it's not going to be about, oh, how much do I play? It's like going to your first All-Star game, Mark. I remember I went to my first All-Star game. I didn't get an AB. I got back to the Reds, and my buddies are giving me a hard time, like, oh, you went there. I said, yeah, it kind of sucked, and they left me standing on deck. It was me and Jason Kendall, and he was hitting for the catcher, which is one spot ahead of me. And I'm on deck, and I end on deck. I remember Jim Leland come up to me with,
sorry, kid.
He's got the smoke, and he's like, he couldn't look me in the eyes. He's like, Boonie, yeah, I'm really sorry. Well, that's back in the day where sometimes you didn't get an AB. They make sure everybody does now. But I remember coming home from that All-Star game. I was so pumped to make my first All-Star team. I just was sitting in the room looking around going, oh, my goodness. I was so like, this is the best. And, of course, it sucked a little bit. I didn't get an AB. But I didn't really care because it was the experience. It's like, hey, this is early in my career. I can check this off the list. And now I want to make another all-star team. but it was about the experience, not how many innings am I going to play or how many ABs do I get. It would have been nice. Everybody wants to get ABs in the All-Star game and get a hit. That's all we want to do. But if you don't, it's like, no, I was recognized, and it was the experience that I really treasure, not the actual. I think probably with the roster you've picked, and like you said, the camaraderie these guys have already, they're going in with that attitude, like, Skip, hey, if you play me, you play me. Whenever you need me, that's fine. But this experience is going to be awesome, especially if you can win.
Yeah, Boonie, I said this, and I've been transparent with all the guys on the phone. Pool play, I'll try and get everybody as much playing time as I certainly can. I'd like to build kind of a core of who's gonna take us once we get to Miami, but I will certainly be looking to move guys around in pool play. When we get to Miami, all bets are off.
Yeah, we got to win tonight.
We got to win. The hot guy's going to play. I remember last time in 23, like people got mad at me, and I try not to look at social media, but we're all just kind of slaves to it, right? People were acting like I didn't want to play Pete Alonso. Like, of course I wanted to play him, but he was struggling at the time. Like you could tell, Boonie, like you get to spring training, either you're locked or you're not. And he was overstriding. He was out in front. He was late on the heater. He was jamming himself. He was trying to do too much. We saw him you saw what we see. So It was like, it wasn't that I didn't want him in the lineup. Of course, guy hits tanks. But at that moment, he was trying to find it. So Goldie was the guy. I had to move Tim Anderson over to second base. There was moves that I had to make based on who was playing good baseball at the time. That's why I feel like we've built this roster a heck of a lot better this time around with, like you said, the Ernie Clements. I called Ernie. This guy just broke the record for most hits. What a postseason, right?
Unbelievable.
And I called him and I said, Ernie, I can't guarantee you a single AB, but I want you on this roster. And he goes, I'm in. Yeah. And he's confident in himself. He goes, by the time the dust settles, you'll find a place for me.
He might be. You come back and go, Ernie Clement was our MVP. What?
He might.
That's why this thing is so great. You never know. At your point with the Alonso thing, once again, we still have to put this in its correct box. It's like, this is the beginning of spring training. Okay. I know for me, early in my career, I had success early in spring training. As my career went on, it took me a little longer. I don't know about you, but as long as I had that timing down and it was creeping to the end of March, man, for me, that's perfect timing. Of course, we all want to get hits.
You almost didn't want too many in spring.
Right. Because you're like, as irrelevant as the stats are in spring, I wanted to hit 500 every spring. Who doesn't want to get a hit? I want to get a hit, D-Row, if me and you are in the backyard playing wiffle ball. I want to go deep and win. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to happen, but what was important about getting ready, especially as a veteran player, is peaking at the right time, right before opening day. That's the time where I felt, and I just felt maybe I didn't get 3 hits today, but that swing was there. That timing was on time. I'm ready to go. That's all I cared about. And as my career went on, so it's different. Now, all of a sudden, especially those guys that kind of build up as the spring goes on, this is a different ballgame. It's like, no, we don't have time for the buildup. We got to go right now. To your Alonso point, it wasn't coming off a 35 home run, 110 RBI season, and you're in the postseason. He's just getting loose. And like you said, he didn't get his rhythm yet. He was in spring training mode, and at the time, you got to win.
Yeah, you could see him in the cage kind of grinding to find it. And I was, we were all just like, and there was a multitude of other guys that were scuffling to find their swing at the moment. It just, you don't know. Like you said, you just don't know who's going to be the hot hand. I think for me, as you try and build a core, I have an idea of what I want to do. Game 1 against Brazil and how I'd love to line up perfect world to flow out. But to sit here and tell you that's going to be the lineup when we get to Miami in the quarterfinals or the semifinals, I'd be lying. Because what if, like, we added Roman Anthony to the team when Corbin Carroll broke his hamate bone, and everybody was like, throwing out different options. I watched Roman play the last half of this the season. This kid's special, right? It might be early for him, but he's a special player. And I just felt like if I can hide him in the lineup in that kind of 7 slot and just let him relax and do his thing, I just think a 3-run bomb matters more than a tough AB, so to speak, in certain moments. So I mean, he could end up moving to the top of the. You just don't know. You just
Yeah.
don't know. I know what I want to do. Like I want to lead Bobby Witt off. I'm probably going to do that. I feel like he is. I mean, I know a lot of people look at Schwarber as a leadoff guy, but when you talk to Schwarbs, and I've called these guys, like I would, if you were on the roster, I would call you Boonie. Where do you feel most comfortable hitting? Because
Right.
some guys don't care. Some guys care a lot.
Yeah.
You know, I called Schwarbs because I was like, if he tells me I'm dead set on leading off, then I'll do it and I'll work around it.
Right.
But he was like, I don't care where I hit. I
Yeah.
either walk or hit bombs. Like that was his mind, that's his mindset. And he doesn't get to hit with too many people on. So I was like, in my perfect world, I'd like you to hit behind Judge and hit 4. And he was like, well, then let's do it. And then that allows you to free up trying Bobby at the leadoff spot, something that he's done very little in his career. But I mean, what a dude to just smack you in the mouth right out of the chute.
Yeah. And I think, and I understand all the changes. I mean, the fact that we're sitting here talking about a hitter like a Schwarber is a leadoff hitter
It's
in
crazy.
2026, you'd say, if me and you are sitting in the Braves locker room right now in 99 and we talk about Chipper leading off, you're
Think about it.
come on, that doesn't happen. Hey, Barry Bonds is leading off for the Giants. Oh, okay, whatever.
Your brother's led off Judgy.
Yeah. Fast forward 2026, the best players in the world are leadoff hitters on a lot of teams. Mookie Betts was doing it. Ohtani's done it for the Dodgers. So it's a different game, different world. But it's nice sometimes, and I'm going to love it if you do it. Hit Judge third
That's
and
what I'm
hit
doing.
Schwarber fourth. That's kind of the new school, old school mix. But
Raleigh's going to be right behind there.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's
No,
pretty cool.
There'll be a little bit of new school and old school mixed in. I think the lineup has to have flow. I think when you're dealing with regular ball clubs, you try and get your best players the most at bats because you don't have stars strewn throughout. But I think when you're given the opportunity to build out the dream team, I think you can kind of handpick where you want guys to hit.
Well, DeRosa, I appreciate it, man. Thanks for
This is
coming on,
awesome,
taking
man.
some time today. I wish you the best. I'll be checking it out. For those of you watching the Bret Boone Podcast now on YouTube, for those of you listening, you can download on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts, wherever you download your podcast. Until next time, keep it here.